My sister was murdered. She was shot over 10 times from the neck to the chest. And the bullets were tied to another murder.
And do you believe that they will kill again?
I strongly believe that. Joslyn Nicole Shaw, and she was 39 at the time of her death. My name is Asia Walker, and this is my story.
October 15th, 2022, tell me what happened from your perspective.
Life changed. My sister was murdered. At about 9:30 in the morning, she was shot, standing on the corner waiting for someone, and she was shot over 10 times, from the neck to the chest, and she was rushed to, it was a hospital on 95th. I was actually at home, so I'm a good 40 minutes away from the location that it happened. When I got the call, it was kind of unclear because I got a call from somebody close to her screaming that she had been shot. Nobody knew the severity of everything until I got to the hospital. I think me and my husband got to the hospital within 20 minutes. And from that time, it was a lot of praying, calls, reaching out to people to see if anybody heard anything. And then when we got to the hospital, we weren't immediately able to go into the hospital. The police kept us outside because of the nature. And within 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of us getting there, that's when they took us up. The hospital liaison took us up to the room to give us an update. But at that point, we kind of already knew that she didn't make it.
Okay, what did the detectives ask you, and what did they end up telling you?
They told me they had a video from the corner store, kind of seeing the angle of where she was standing, and described how two men were walking towards her. So like if she was standing here, they were walking, coming her way. They said that she looked up from her phone, because she was on her phone, looked up, looked at them, didn't look scared, didn't look like she knew them, looked back down, and they kind of walked around her like they were going around her to cross the street. And when they got from around her and got to the middle of the street is when they turned around and opened fire on her.
Gotcha. Tell me a little bit about your sister.
Of course, we didn't grow up with the best life, but we had enough. And my sister, she had a facade of being hard. People accounted it or put it towards her lifestyle because she was lesbian and she had the tough exterior. I call it a stud or something. And then when my mother died in February of 2020, I think part of her died and she became grown. She started a clothing line. She put her all into it. She was just a loving, caring person.
And to this day, nobody has been questioned, called, any answers at all to your family?
Nope, not at all. And I'm gonna say how I feel. I feel like I've gotten the generic answer. Every time I've reached out, it's still an investigation. It's an ongoing investigation. We're trying to find this person that she was waiting for. We're questioning people around the neighborhood she stayed in. We don't have any solid leads or suspects, but it's an ongoing investigation. And they also told me that, because I used to call every week, and they told me they would go to the neighborhood she lived in, and people around there would basically open their doors or see them on the street and tell them, man, get that away from here. If they see us talking to you, we gonna be killed. There was a video from the store, but they said that it wasn't clear enough to show, any features, whatever the people might look like. They said they were in all black clothing, but then I found out there was 2 other videos. If you got this video moments after my sister was shot, you saw something and they never followed up. I find it hard for a random shooting, for a person to be shot randomly and shot over 15 times from the front, and to approach her, in my mind, they were walking across the street to make sure it was her, because they could have shot her walking up to her. They could have shot her running past her, but they walked up to her. She looked up from her phone because she had a yellow hoodie on and it was over her head. She looked up, they walked around her, and then opened fire. So in my head, that's okay, we making sure that's her. So if it was a random, I'll be the first to say, okay, but still, you should still be investigating, trying to get these people off the street, because after I pushed and pushed and pushed, I found out finally the ballistics came back from her, I guess whatever test the police run, and the bullets were tied to another murder and tied to another shooting that all happened within 24. Well, I think the murder happened within 24 hours. That was earlier that day. It took me 6 to 7 months to get that information. They tell me it might be random because there's a gang war over there or something. But again, I've heard of random shootings. I've heard of people getting shot randomly a couple times, but 10 to 15 times. So if it's a random, I will deal with accepting that. But these people killed someone earlier that morning, before they killed my sister, and my sister was shot at 9 o'clock in the morning.
And do you believe that they will kill again?
I strongly believe that. I believe it, especially if the same bullets, 10 to 15 bullets that took my sister away from me, killed somebody else that morning, and were used in another shooting later on. So these people, if it was random, they need to be off the street even more, because they out there just killing people.
What do you think about the code of silence in our communities?
It breaks my heart, because somebody knows something and sees something. And for these people to have that much power over the neighborhood, to say, if you say something, I'm going to kill you too, I think is sickening. I think is terrible, because until you're in somebody's shoes that has lost a loved one, you never know how hurt they are. October 15, 2020 changed me. And that's what I want people to know. My sister just didn't die. I died that day. And because you're not saying something, I'm never going to get closure, but I can't get a peace of mind of knowing these people need to be brought to justice, because that's all we're going to get is justice, not closure.
Okay, so have you ever thought about going to like any support groups or getting help for your trauma?
I have a big support group with my congregation. We go to the local Kingdom Hall, and with my husband. It might sound selfish, but to me I won't say it's not enough. It's just, I don't know. It helps. They check on me, they text me, they call me, they hug me. But like I said, from that day, I just have not been myself. What I'm trying to do is not give up and let it fall to the wayside of everybody's memory. We'll go off that code of silence and just give up, and I don't want her to be an unsolved murder.
City on fire, ooh, down to the wire. It's my life in the shy, ooh, it's my life in the shy.